I met a gypsy.
That's like me. I've kind of got a new love for the sport from a different, just on
perspective.
the technical side. Like I really like the testing and the engineering side of it, and trying to make a dirt bike better. And why is this one better? Why, I'm trying to learn on that end, which has been great. I've been exposed to a lot of different engineers and a lot of smart people over the last year doing this Triumph deal.
Oh man, and I've heard that the bike's fucking amazing too.
It's good. Yeah, it is. It does everything pretty well. Super light, nimble bike. Yeah, I'm excited for everybody to try one and see what their feedback is.
I was supposed to do. I got invited to go to the launch.
Gainesville?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You gonna go?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. I've just I got to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of those deals. But I'm like, that was one of those. You see like those fucking inspirational things on Instagram where it's like, the successful people learn how to say no, like all that bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sitting with that email like, I gotta fucking say no to this, don't I? I gotta say no to this, don't I?
I went and rode there last week, actually.
You were breaking them in?
Yeah, I broke some in. I haven't rode there since '98.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to go back and ride
It's
that
a pretty
place.
dope track.
It is really fun.
So
yeah.
that's the World Minis track, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck. Now I'm pissed.
Come on, book a flight.
I might have to.
Yeah.
So how did that come up? So you're doing the Pro Circuit testing thing, and then is that people knew you were testing, and it kind of like led into it, or how did it come about?
Yeah, so I did Mitch's stuff for 5 years,
Yeah.
doing all this testing, and 2020, Ricky hit up Mitch and was like, hey, can I use Ivan for a week? Basically one of those deals, and Mitch agreed to it, and I didn't even know what it was either. I was just like, I knew after Daytona.
It's all like NDAs and shit at that
like
point,
I was like, after Daytona Supercross, I knew I was flying to the goat farm to, test for 5 days, and once I got there, I kind of knew what was up, and so that was the first, right after Daytona 2020 was my first experience dealing with Triumph, and they were kind of trying to figure out, they knew they were going to make a dirt bike, they were trying to figure it all out. And yeah, 4 years later, we got a bike.
So from what I heard, it basically like they had a KTM-ish kind of like base, and then they were like building it up, but then the pictures that I saw, I'm like, this is a completely different motorcycle.
Yeah.
So like, what was the process over those 4 years to like kind of get to where it is now?
I wasn't involved initially,
Okay.
But
so when it got to you, it was just a Triumph.
I did a little bit initially on some other bikes to get some feedback, like, okay, where do we want to go? Because we're starting from a clean slate, right? You can make what we want. We obviously tried all the other bikes to see, where do we want to go with it, and that's the bike. That's what they came up with was, and does everything pretty well.
So what do you like when you rode the other stock bikes? Like, what would you say is like the highlight point of each that you tried to like take and put into the Triumph?
Obviously, like the Yamaha, the motor's very strong stock.
It's insane, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't really care for the chassis myself, but that's stock, right?
You would have rode the 22 version, right? Yeah.
So I haven't rode the current one, but and just I don't know, they each have like the Cowie does everything pretty well.
It's like kind of broadly good.
Mm-hmm. KTM, I don't know. I didn't really care for it too much, to be honest with you.
Did you ride KTM in your career?
One time
for
I filled in
Rockstar.
for Millsaps.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wrote, that was the older 450.
Yeah.
And I ended up riding the 350. I rode 4 rounds on the 450, and then they came up with the idea, like I was kind of struggling with it. Hey, let's try the 350. And I was actually faster on it, like lap time wise. But so I started racing that, and results didn't really get any better, but I definitely enjoyed myself a lot more.
Yeah.
That was a fun bike.
Yeah. And then so what on the KTM, like, so there was nothing that you were like, okay, I want, there was nothing you wanted to extract from the KTM into the Triumph?
I would say the ergonomics, like
they feel good.
Feel pretty good, yeah. But I didn't care for the rear end of that bike too much.
Yeah, very busy, eh? Like kind of side to side when they're stopped.
Yeah, just unpredictable, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Triumph bike, I'm very pleased with it. It's a good bike.
Yeah, so I heard from people that have rode it that they're not paid by Triumph.
Yeah.
They were like, it's probably one of the best 250s, which I find pretty crazy that you can come out with a bike that's very good in your first go.
It's not easy, right?
And then Evan Ferry gets the fucking whole shot
Right.
from the outside in the LCQ. Granted, it's an LCQ, but it's like, dude, that's still.
But if you watch the main event too, he was out there, like he was up in the mix too. He just got punted into the wall. So
that was bad too.
No, I thought it was a good showing for the bike. You know, first opening showing for the Triumph 250. It was good.
Yeah. What did you think working with Bobby?
Yeah, it was good. It caught me off guard. Are you talking back when I rode for him?
Oh yeah. Well, because you rode with.
Just for a feeling.
Because I feel like he's a guy you'd get along well with.
No, I get along great with Bobby and Scuba, and we got a good group of guys. And they brought Dave Arnold over on board, the old Team Honda team manager. Yeah. Just for his knowledge and chassis and that development. So been able to work with some great people and learn a lot. It's been good.
Bobby is I'm very glad that he's back in the sport.
Yeah. No, Bobby's awesome.
When he went away with the whole Husky deal and how it went down. I mean, I actually still don't really know the backstory of it, but I'm assuming it sucked for him. Yeah. But man, so my ex-girlfriend, one of her best friends is Bobby's daughter.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I fully just started hanging out with that whole family and just a fully non-motocross.
They live here Huntington Beach or something.
Yeah. And he was just the fucking coolest, coolest guy.
Dude. He's a good dude.
And I feel like he's probably not everyone's cup of tea in this small industry in a way, because I just don't know that he wants to play by any specific rules in a sense. He's just a old school straight shooter.
He is black and white.
Kind of dude. And
which I appreciate. I think you get, and it's for racing, you get places a lot quicker when things are black and white, right? When you're dancing around things, and no, it's good.
And so what was the program of testing and developing that bike? You basically, so it was Matt Walker's facility got rented by Triumph, and it was, you just go in there and it's just the constant test.
Yep. And then as new parts would come in, try them out. Okay, where do we want to go from here? You know, it's just that trial and error, and it's a process, right, to get stuff built. And here we are. We got on the racetrack, and we learned a lot there too. So as we go forward, we're gonna keep progressing. So
how many frame versions would you have rode, and because it'd be interesting to know what's on the cutting room floor essentially.
Quite a few. And even we got to a point where it was pretty far along, and then we tried some other things, and we knew we had to go in that direction. So I wouldn't say things got held up, but they had to make some calls okay, it'll get held up for a little bit if we make this call, but it's going to be better. But I'm glad that they made the call on the better move.
And so what some examples of that?
Just the frame geometry, as far as the geometry of the frame. You move it 1 millimeter, 5 millimeter. I mean, it's a huge deal. So it's a little bit of trial and error and, figuring out what it needs.
Yeah. And so to me, it looks almost like that 06 Yamaha
it does,
chassis.
Right? Yeah. Has that look to it.
Yeah. And so do you think it would have that kind of feel in a sense, or it's
That's hard to say. Because I did ride one of those at one point, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Because, 5 millimeters different.
Yeah.
So it could look the same, but geometry, I couldn't tell you if it's even close as that Yamaha 250.
It seems like everything's trended so much stiffer these last 10 years, maybe since the modern 4-stroke era. I don't know, maybe since the alloy frames came in, because I have a 96 CR250, and the thing fucking flexes when you kick it.
Yeah, it feels like a couch. Yeah.
Like it's actually, I remember the first time I kickstarted it, I was like looking at my foot as I kicked it, and it was just like rot. So we go from that to what we've got now, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like Triumph kind of day dot, like brand new bike, it kind of has a chance to not be that. Was that like a thing that you guys were like trying to be very cognizant of? Because I wonder why the manufacturers have even gone that stiff.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wasn't involved in at that level. You know,
Okay.
more once it got to that level, here, try this. What, you know, yeah, I haven't, so I wouldn't know. I couldn't answer that.
Could you feel the bikes just getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer over your career?
I would say, yeah, no, because I know, like, say the 06 Suzuki, man, the thing felt rigid up in the neck to me. You know, like certain bikes, and almost went, I would say, softer for a minute. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, because there's, I guess, so many like different variables with it. Were you good at test riding from the outset, do you think?
No, I wouldn't say so. My first like exposure to doing any testing was a Yamaha Troy with Ross at Enzo. You know, that was kind of the first, and he was always super cool, just explaining stuff to me. And because I'll be honest, at first I didn't want to say I didn't know, so I would kind of make stuff up, but that does nobody any good, right? If
That's very normal though, I think.
I think it is. I see it a lot with the younger kids even now. You know, they don't want to say, I don't know. You know, which that's better than going down saying it's doing this and it's doing that when you're just talking, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it gets tough on the 250 race team side. Is you're typically working with young kids, right?
Yeah.
They don't know much, which they shouldn't. They've never been exposed to anything, right? So that's where I feel like a test rider like myself is a lot more important for the 250 program than, say, 450. At least once you're going racing. There's obviously the production side of testing that things got to be right on the bike to have a good base bike, right? But once you go racing, I don't feel like you could lean on these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids to develop the motorcycle. You know, like some of them might have a knack for it right off the get-go, but you know, you could get out in left field just as quick as you could make it better, right?
Oh man, 100%.
Or maybe even easier. So
we're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.